Hello and welcome to Eagle SOAR. I'm excited to continue the study we began Tuesday this last week. I hope it's been a blessing for you. Remember, we are teaching from the book 101-06. I hope you will look for it and get it for yourself, because I cannot teach all that is in the book. So I hope that you will look for it, order it, and get it. There's a lot of good things. Last week, or Tuesday, I taught you something that Reed Condra had written and printed in the book. And tonight I'm going to share some things with you that Ted Camp has written many years ago that it's still helpful and working today. The title today is Guidelines for Teaching Deaf People. So it's going to be good. These are things that have been tested, and tried, and used. They're not ideas. They are practices that we have done over the years of time, and we know they work. So we want to encourage you and share them with you to help your deaf ministry. Again, tonight I want to remind you, if you have prayer requests, please type them in the comments, and we will try to remember to pray for you. Also, we want to encourage you to be a part of your local church ministry. We at Silent Word Ministries, we're not trying to replace your church. But in these tough times, some cannot go to church still. Some churches still are not open. We want to help you and provide for you some things that will encourage you and help when you can, and it's possible, to go back to build your deaf ministry. So tonight I'm going to give you 20 different things. So if you have some paper and a pen, you may want to get it so you can write down 20 different things that will help you, helpful guidelines for your teaching of deaf people. And I hope it'll be a blessing for you. Let's get started. The first thing that I want to encourage you with is start as soon as possible. Now, what does this mean? Many of you will feel, I want to wait until I am qualified. I want to wait until I am better able. I want to wait until I improve more before we start a deaf ministry or a deaf Bible study. I want to wait until I'm ready. I want to warn you, if you wait until you feel ready or qualified, you may never feel that way. So my advice to you, start. If God has touched your heart, start the ministry as soon as possible. Even if you only have one deaf person, you say, well, we're going to wait until we have more deaf people that come. If you have one deaf person, that person is worth it. So begin. Get started. And from the very beginning of your ministry, give it to the Lord and ask the Lord for help in doing what God has touched your heart to do. So that's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is find names and addresses for the deaf. Now, many people, one of the most popular questions that's asked me in meetings is, where can you find deaf people to come to your church? It's a good question, and it is a question that is on the mind of every person who works with the deaf. How do you find a deaf person? Well, I will tell you, if you have a burden for the deaf and to start a deaf ministry in your church, probably you know at least one deaf person. And use that deaf person as motivation for you. Begin to teach and to give your life for that one deaf person. And then over time, you will find that deaf person has some friends. And they'll be willing to let you know about those friends. You can find maybe addresses of the deaf in your area from different things, any way possible. I would stand in my church. I would stand and say, we are beginning a deaf ministry. We love the deaf here at our church. We want to establish deaf ministry. If you know or you meet a deaf person, will you let us know their information, their name, their address, maybe their text number or email, whatever. Ask your church family to help you to look for deaf. You will be surprised how many people in your church will meet a deaf person somewhere, maybe in the store, maybe in the hospital, maybe just happen to meet. But ask for help from the people in your church. You need to find out, where do the deaf meet in my area? Some of the deaf, you will find they have fellowship times and they'll meet. But get names and addresses as fast as you can. After a while, the deaf who come to your church will give you more names. Now, I'm going to warn you. The deaf who come to your church, they love you. But they will wait. Many times they'll wait, I have noticed. They're going to wait until they see you improve, until they will give you names, addresses to invite their friends. That's okay. Don't become discouraged with that. All right? Use that as motivation to improve as fast as you can, so they will feel comfortable to help you to find names and addresses. This is very, very, very important. The third thing, advertise. I'm going to say advertise. Advertise. How do you do that? You have many, many ways today to advertise your deaf ministry. I'm going to give you a few, all right? And I hope these will help you. First, if you can find email address for the deaf, email to all. You can use what we're using tonight, Facebook. You can use that to announce, we're going to have an activity this week at our church for the deaf. Make the announcement. You can make up a special flyer, a piece of paper with the details on. You can say, we're going to be meeting here, we're going to have a picnic here at the church, time, date, free, whatever you can put on. But you can do that flyer, and you can put it in your church bulletin, but you can also maybe put it in the newspaper. You can post it in the post office. Most post office will allow you to do that. Maybe in your favorite store or restaurant, you can post a flyer there. But begin to advertise, we love deaf people. Let them know in your area, we have started a deaf ministry. So let them know that. So that was number 3. Number 4. This is simple. But reach out to the deaf people that you know already. Again, maybe it's one deaf person, but reach out to them. Let them know, we're excited. We're going to start a deaf ministry. You probably know at least one deaf person, and that's why you have a burden to start. So tell that person. Let them know you're starting a ministry for them. It's interesting, one church that I went to, I was going to be teaching sign language for a week. And I asked the people in the church, do you know of any deaf? They said, we know one deaf lady. They told me where she lived. And another man and myself and my wife, the three went to visit this lady. And I remember went up to her door, and she had glass windows in the door so she could see out. And I looked in, I waved. She looked out, she saw me, a little bit nervous, I could tell. And I began to sign to her, we're from the church, we stopped here to visit with you. And immediately she became warm and friendly. She came, opened the door, invited us to come in. I remember, I had never met the woman before. Some of the people in the church had seen her in their town, but they didn't know her. So I went in and I said to her, this week I'm here, I'm teaching sign language in the church right over here. I told the name of the church. I said, over there at the church. Last night was the first night. We had 30 people show up to learn sign language for you. And the woman looked at me and she said, for me? I said, yes, they're learning sign language to be able to minister and help you. She said, for me? I said, they're learning for you. She said again, for me? The lady came to the church. And by the way, that was about 10 years ago. That lady is still coming to the church. She was their first deaf person. And now many, many other deaf come to the church. But that lady has been faithful. And many times it will begin with one. You can write a letter and send it to the deaf that you know, letting them know about the day you're going to begin the ministry, the time you will meet, where in the church, the room number, whatever, time, different things. Let them know. I would even include in the flyer that I send out, or the letter, we need your help. Many times, deaf want to be needed. And it's important to let them know, we need your help. So come and become a part of our ministry. And really that will excite them and inspire them to come. Number 5. This is an important one. You need to visit. Deaf people understand when they look at a church there, they think to themselves, that's a hearing church over there. And maybe they're awkward. Maybe they feel a little bit nervous or even afraid. I'm not going to go there. I heard they have a deaf ministry, but I don't want to go there. If you will stop at their home and visit with them, and they have the opportunity to meet you face to face, and they see you're a good person and a friendly person and a nice person, and you're not a crazy person, that will help them to feel comfortable to be able to come to church. While you're there visiting with them, you explain where in the church they come. Front door, go in, turn right, go around there. There's a room over there, number 104. That's where we meet. And we meet there 9:30 on Sunday, whatever your details are. But when you're visiting, you can tell them all those things. And what happens is, before they were afraid, now, I know some people, and I promise you, if you tell the deaf person you're visiting, I will meet you at the door when you come, when you arrive on Sunday morning. I will meet you there. It's important to visit and visit and visit deaf people. My wife and I, we have found we go to different areas where we don't know deaf people, and we look for a sign like this, deaf child area. Normally there are two signs. One is here, and then on the other side there's another sign over there. In the middle, somewhere in the middle of those two, is where a deaf person lives, or used to live. My wife and I remember one time we were in an area, we didn't know any deaf there. But we saw this sign. We were driving down there, we both looked at each other. We went and found the second sign on the other side. We turned around, we came back. We went halfway, come back, halfway this way, right there, right in the center. We walked up to a door. We knocked on the door. We said, we are looking for the deaf person. And a woman said, oh, it's not a child anymore. Now he's become man. He lives right across the street over there in that house. We said, thank you so much. We went over, rang the doorbell. The deaf person came. We met them. They said, how did you know we lived here? I told them the sign. And the deaf laughed, and we laughed, and that deaf person came to church. So look, but visit the people, the deaf people. And every time you visit them, make up a card and write their name, their address, and then what happened when you were there. Good visit, a person very, very friendly, or they have a a mean dog, whatever you want to put on that card. But it will help the next person who maybe will go and visit them. They can pull out, oh, okay, mean dog. I better be ready to run. I'm just teasing. But number 5, visit. Number 6, learn your area and competition. I mean, other churches that work with the deaf. By the way, I will tell you, if I know of a good church in the area that has a deaf ministry, I myself refuse to steal their deaf. Will not do that. But if it's a church that does not preach the gospel, and they have a deaf ministry, but they're not teaching the Bible, I will go and visit those deaf because I want to see them learn the Bible. We had a man years ago, a deaf man. He came for a special day at our church, and he heard the gospel for the first time. He came with me and he prayed with me to receive Christ. It was exciting. But he went to another church that did not preach the gospel. I noticed that on Wednesday night he would come to our Bible study Wednesday night. He did not come Sunday morning. He would come Sunday night. Later on, he began to come Sunday morning. Finally, I found out that one day he went to his church, the other church, and the pastor asked him, "Why do you go to that other church?" And the deaf man said, "Because that other church teaches me the Bible. I want to learn the Bible." And the person said, if I teach you the Bible, will you come here? And he said, "No, the other church is better." You know what happened? He quit that other. The church was not preaching and teaching the Bible, and he joined our church. Deaf want to be in a good Bible teaching, preaching church. So learn what other churches in your area have deaf ministry, how many deaf are in your area, and be realistic about how many you expect to come to your church. If there are 10 deaf in your town, don't expect to have 100 deaf coming to your church. That's not real. It's not honest. So be careful. Learn who is in your area and what they're doing with the deaf. Let me give you the next one. The deaf who come to your church, use them. Don't you become the king. I'm in control. I do everything. You sit, you watch. I'll preach, I'll teach, I'll sing, I'll announce. I'll do me. If there are deaf in your church, allow the deaf in your church to serve. They will want to serve. It is a deaf class. Allow them to know they are a part of your class. They need to be taught that they need to be involved. So from the beginning of your class, allow the deaf to be involved and use them. Many deaf I have seen are willing, but they don't know how. So part of your ministry is to teach, to train them how to be involved in your ministry. Number 8. Of course, the Bible is the center of our ministry, but we people love fellowship. We love fun. We love the activities. So plan, have a variety of things in your meetings. Have fun times in your meetings. When you teach the Bible, be exciting. Don't be exciting. Make your deaf class a special time of the week where the deaf cannot wait to get there. And if they miss, they will feel like, I missed my class. Make it exciting and enjoyable. Number 9. Develop or grow other workers. We talked a lot before about teaching and training. I'm not going to review too much, but we need to always be teaching and training the deaf so they can become involved. After you have taught them, if they are qualified, then use them. Ask them to get involved, helping to visit, helping to maybe drive other deaf to come to church, helping with the activities, helping sharing their testimony in the service time, maybe leading a song. They eventually become the teacher, but involve your deaf. How? Develop them, teach them, and train them to help. Build a deaf ministry for all deaf. I've taught before, so I'll not spend too much time. There are many, many different kinds of deaf people, just like hearing people. There's some oral. There are some hard of hearing. There are some senior citizen deaf. There are some highly educated, some low educated. All of them are important to God. So build your ministry for all of the deaf. Don't focus on one person. Make your ministry a deaf ministry. Don't copy a hearing meeting. Don't teach the same that you would teach in a hearing meeting. That's boring. Really establish a deaf ministry. Make the name of your class something that identifies with the deaf, like the silent class, or we simply call our group the Deaf Bible Study, or deaf class, but identify it with the deaf. Visitors should be able to find or come in and say, where's deaf class? Where? And be able to find it. Encourage people who meet people at the door. We call them friendly greeters. Tell those people, I'm expecting a deaf person to show up today. Please, will you tell them we are in room 104. Please, will you help them, guide them to our room? And help the people who are the greeters to bring the deaf person to your class. Make sure when you set up your room, it's deaf friendly. Means what? Lighting good. The seating right, not seating behind. So spread them out so they can see well. Make sure that the speaker or the teacher is in a place where every person can see good and clear. Make sure they have a whiteboard or a screen to put things on, because deaf are very, very visual. They want to be able to see clear. Number 12, a good idea, send out regularly like a newsletter. Not full 5-page, I don't mean that, but just one like a flyer. Let people know what's happening. I prefer today, easiest way, email. Email to all, or text to all, or you can use Facebook, or you can type a paper letter. You can. But cover all of the deaf in your area. So if you meet a new deaf person, you find out their name, email, and ask for permission. We do activities. Can I send you what we're doing? Let you know what's happening? I have never had a person say no. They say, sure. And I send them the email. They don't always come, but they know what we're doing and where we are. That's important. This is also important. Many people have some success and they pause. Don't pause. After your success, continue to work on growing your ministry. Visit new deaf. Visit the deaf in the hospital. Visit deaf without a church. And keep reaching out to all the deaf that you can. You may have a good group, but don't be satisfied and don't stop. Don't stop until when? Till the rapture comes or you die, either one. This is important. I've been teaching many of these Eagle SOAR workshops, and I've said this many times. Have a good, positive relationship with your pastor but also you need to have a good, positive attitude about your pastor. God called your pastor to be the shepherd of your church. You have the opportunity to help your pastor to minister to the deaf that the pastor cannot communicate with, but you can. So have a good, positive attitude. Don't talk bad about your pastor. Don't gossip about your pastor. Even with hearing people or deaf people, that's not good. It's not right. I would say this. Now watch me. If you have not prayed for your pastor, don't complain about your pastor. Have a positive attitude about him. Pray for him. Support him. This kind of goes along with that one. This is number 15. Set up times to meet with your pastor. Take time to sit with him and discuss the ministry. If you are a deaf person, get an interpreter, come with you, but be able to sit with the pastor, not in front of the whole church, but in his office, or maybe getting coffee and a donut, whatever. But just sit down and talk about your ideas and dreams for your deaf ministry. Find out his vision for your whole church. Support him and do your part. Your deaf should be excited about what your church is doing as much as they are about the deaf ministry. For example, this Sunday, our church has its 36th anniversary Sunday. It's this Sunday, 36 years. Our deaf are excited. Our deaf have not been there for 36 years. I have not been there for 36 years, but they are excited to celebrate together with the whole church family. And that's good and should be that way. (16) Stay true to the rules or the standards of your church. Every church has rules. If you are going to be a leader of any ministry, including deaf ministry, you need to fit into the rules of the church. You might say to me, I disagree with the rule of the church. Then don't volunteer to serve there. You should be honest. Honest people will join and serve where they feel that they fit right. You need to fit into the rules, the standards of your church. Deaf ministry, just because it's deaf ministry does not mean it can change the rules of the church. They have to fit and match. And only use people who are faithful in the church and agree and serve with their whole heart. Amen? Let me give you another one, number 17. Have special activities. Once a month you should have an activity. Maybe smaller. But every 3 months you should have a big activity. And you can use holidays like Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, different things like that. Thanksgiving, you can use those and have big activities for that time. But have activities. Deaf love fellowship. And it's important that we provide for them good Bible foundation fellowship with their friends. So do that. These last three are very important. Number 18. Keep and follow Bible truths and purity. It's important. This should be identification of your ministry. Many deaf really are disappointed because they go to a church and later they find out they don't really follow the Bible. Your church should have a reputation of, we will follow the Bible. Some deaf will not like it and they will leave. That's okay. You stay true to the Bible and remain pure. Deaf should know that your Bible or your church will follow the Bible and the truths that are there in the Bible. Don't waver to gain people. Don't compromise. So, oh, well, if we will allow that person, okay, we'll allow, come. No, stay true to the Bible. Number 19, make your deaf ministry a part of the whole church ministry, not separate. Many times the deaf feel, we want independence over here. That's the hearing church over there. That is not healthy. Many churches have different ministries. What would happen if the young people, the teens, if they said, we want separate over here, they're the old people over there, it would create chaos. What would happen if a Spanish ministry saying, we're over here, you're over there? No, we want together to serve the Lord. The deaf ministry is a part of the whole church ministry. So we want to make sure we establish that God established this church. The deaf ministry is part of the church God established. And so we want to really encourage and promote our home church. And last, whoops, I'm sorry, that's one I just did. I missed it. The last one. I'm trying to hurry tonight. My time is going and I have so much to do. The last one. Yourself as a leader, remain pure. Be faithful. There's nothing that destroys a ministry faster than a person that preaches or teaches one thing and practices another. So be true to what you teach. If you're going to teach a truth, you need to live that truth. Does it mean you must be perfect? You cannot, impossible for you to be perfect. But try the best you can to copy Jesus Christ and live right. Well, I've flown through those things tonight. 20 different things, guidelines for teaching the deaf. They're all in this book, Teaching and Ministering to Deaf People. I have one more workshop that I'm going to do from this book. So there are going to be 3. I've already finished number 1. Tonight was finished number 2. And on Tuesday next week, I will be teaching the 3rd and we'll finish this book. There's a lot in this book. I cannot cover it all. So I picked out 3 different topics I think will be a blessing to you. And I hope tonight has been a blessing to you. Be sure on Saturday, 7 o'clock, John Barr will be teaching you on Saturday night. My name is Jim Braceland, and I've really been excited to be able to teach you tonight. I will see you next week. Thank you again for watching Eagle Soar.